When our masculine and feminine sides reach a state of harmony and balance, we can truly accept others, not only as friends and sexual partners, but also as brothers, sisters, and conscious companions on the path of spiritual unity. Building the kind of ideal relationship that everyone dreams of is difficult, but not impossible. Most popular methods taught at retreats and workshops often fail to deliver true results because they miss the essence. Mystical philosophy, however, holds the key because it reveals a genuine path to creating deep, meaningful, and real connection with a beloved. It shows how to interact in a way that awakens something sacred between two people. If you understand this secret, you'll be able to create the relationship you've been longing for. You didn't open this video by chance. Watch it until the end to learn a mystical practice that will help you better understand yourself and take the first steps toward your ideal relationship. The environment in which modern people live, constantly demanding adherence to behavioral norms, is an aggressive space that offers no clear guidance on how to build strong and meaningful relationships. The techniques and methods of relationship building that are widely promoted through films, TV shows, media, and various self-help trainings often do not teach true harmony, but rather how to manipulate a partner and maximize personal gain, presenting oneself as a more valuable asset. In such dynamics, partners usually place demands on each other, trying to mold the other into someone more convenient and compliant. This desire to manipulate breeds a consumerist attitude, not only towards the other person, but toward oneself. As a result, people lose touch with their own role and purpose in a relationship and begin projecting the problem onto their partner. This relationship, lacking depth and true connection, gradually collapses, leaving behind pain, confusion, and disappointment. Sadly, these patterns are all too common and tend to unfold in the same sequence: attraction, passion, fading, complaints, pain, and separation. That's why we see so many people emotionally lost, withdrawn, and disillusioned until we begin to believe that such relationships are normal. At first glance, it may seem that there is no way out of this cycle, as so many relationships end in disappointment. But in truth, there is a solution, and it is offered by mystical philosophy. This is a body of ancient knowledge about the hidden nature of the human being passed down through time. Mystical philosophy helps us see the deeper meaning behind everything that happens in our lives, including our experiences in love and partnership. The only requirement is to learn how to apply this knowledge in the context of modern life and grow wiser through it. According to mystical philosophy, the core reason relationships fail lies not outside of us, but within, in the inner disharmony that shapes the fragmented, imbalanced outer life we often live. In reality, a joyful life and a truly meaningful relationship are not a privilege for the few, but a natural right and possibility for every individual. It is a gift offered by nature and the entire universe. And this is exactly what the ancient knowledge of the human soul is here to reveal. In mystical philosophy, there are two perspectives on relationships: the outer or exoteric view and the inner, hidden or esoteric one. The exoteric approach teaches that man and woman are originally incomplete, and that only through union with one another can they attain wholeness, discovering harmony in the external world through the interplay of opposites. The esoteric vision, on the other hand, holds that each person is already whole by nature. In this view, a relationship becomes a means of revealing a hidden or shadow part of oneself. It is the aspect that is reflected in and often dominates the partner. Through conscious interaction with this mirrored essence, a person awakens inner harmony, which then begins to express itself outwardly. Thus, the path to ideal relationships leads through inner self-knowledge and the realization of one's own dual wholeness. The dual nature of every human being is expressed through the masculine and feminine principles, both of which exist and develop within each of us, regardless of gender. Mystical philosophy reveals the ancient truth that every person is, by nature, androgynous. This means that both masculine and feminine forces live within us. These are two principles form an inner duality, and the task of each individual is to bring them into harmonious interaction. If a person does not understand how the masculine and feminine relate within themselves, they will never be able to build truly deep and balanced relationships with another in the outer world, because the inner creates the outer. In other words, one cannot enter into whole, heartfelt relationships without first experiencing the inner harmony of their own dual nature. A person who has not recognized or integrated the balance between their inner masculine and feminine cannot perceive it outside themselves, even if they come face to face with it. If you feel doubt or confusion listening to this, it may simply mean that the idea of inner harmony between masculine and feminine forces is still unfamiliar to you. But this harmony exists within each of us, and it can be awakened and developed. So let us now ask, how can we become aware of our inner androgyny and find the inner balance that is essential for deep and lasting relationships? On the physical level, androgyny is reflected in the fact that both testosterone and estrogen, which are traditionally considered male and female hormones, are produced in the bodies of all people, regardless of sex. In addition, the human brain itself mirrors this duality. The left hemisphere is associated with logic and reason, reflecting the masculine aspect, while the right hemisphere governs imagination, creativity, and sensitivity, which are qualities linked to the feminine nature. But it is mystical philosophy that reveals the deeper meaning of androgyny. It teaches that within every person, the masculine principle is represented by the spirit, or in other words, the higher self, while the feminine is the soul, which reflects the depth of one's inner emotional world. Along with the physical body, these form the triune nature of the human being. It is through the inner interaction of spirit and soul that a person awakens their hidden power, natural wholeness, and inner harmony. This sacred union is the key to truly knowing oneself and to creating authentic, meaningful relationships with a beloved. Mystical philosophy reveals the spirit of a person through the image of the sun, the source of life and light, while the soul is described in the language of hidden knowledge as the moon. Just as the moon has no light of its own and reflects the radiance of the sun, so too does the soul, when united with the spirit, receive and embody its glow and power. This union of spirit and soul is known in mystical philosophy as the Alchemical Wedding. Medieval artists often portrayed this sacred event in their paintings, where the sun and moon enter into a sacred union, with the human being as the primary witness to the merging of the celestial and the earthly within themselves. The alchemical wedding is an intimate inner process through which the soul is illuminated by the spirit and becomes spiritualized. Through this sacred union, one comes to know themselves as the higher self, attaining inner wholeness and harmony. In this state, one becomes a living embodiment of divinity, a god or goddess incarnate on earth. The memory of this process lives on in the word lubov in Slavic languages, which means love and which, according to ancient script, can be deciphered as people know the gods, which literally means one who has spiritualized their soul, discovered love, and become divine. The ancient sages and mystics left us many symbolic clues about the great inner process of the union between spirit and soul. One of these symbolic clues is the myth of Eros and Psyche. This story is not merely a beautiful legend about gods, but an allegory. Psyche represents the soul trapped in the realm of materiality, and Eros is the spirit of the human being, who rescues her, unites with her in love, and lifts her to Olympus, where she becomes a goddess. It is an image of the spiritualization of the soul through its union with the spirit, which is a sacred process that takes place within each person. This same mystery is revealed in the Bible when read through the lens of mystical philosophy. Mary Magdalene is a symbol of the soul led by earthly passions. As a harlot, she meets Christ, who embodies the spirit of the human being. Their meeting is the union of spirit and soul, where transformation and harmony are born. the Spirit redeems the soul from suffering and pain. Even the myth of the Immaculate Conception points to the same truth. Mary, as a symbol of the soul, conceives through the Spirit and gives birth to a child who represents the awakened mind, which is the result of the inner union between the celestial and the earthly. This awakened mind leads a person toward true harmony and wholeness. Even modern wedding rituals preserve echoes of the Alchemical Union. When the groom lifts the bride's veil, he symbolizes the Spirit removing the veil of ignorance from the soul, allowing her to see the world clearly. This is not just a ceremonial gesture, but a symbol of inner awakening within the human being. Mystical philosophy clearly teaches that the path to harmonious relationships begins long before a partner appears in one's life. It starts with cultivating the union of the spiritual essence and the qualities of the soul within oneself. This inner alignment gives rise to true harmony, which then becomes the foundation for outer connection. When a person attains this sense of inner wholeness, they stop projecting demands onto themselves or others, because peace has been established within. The inner union of the masculine and feminine principles becomes the basis for deep, conscious, and heartfelt relationships not only with a partner, but with all of nature and every living being. True relationship work begins as care for the sacred union between spirit and soul within oneself. Only then does it become the support for a similar unfolding in another. The sacred duty of partnership is not merely physical intimacy, but the offering of support to one's beloved in preparing for their own inner alchemical wedding. This is how a person moves from blame and expectation to unity and becomes an ally to the one they love. Now, let's answer the question: how can we turn all this mystical knowledge into experience in everyday life? First of all, it is necessary to see and realize that the modern popular view of relationships between the sexes is often presented and promoted as a rivalry where each partner defends their rights, often at the expense of the other. It must be understood that if a romantic relationship is based on everyday perception and a mundane understanding of its meaning, such a connection is highly vulnerable and likely to be short-lived. Let's take a moment to look at this from a broader perspective. A few words about patriarchy and matriarchy. These ideas are ultimately empty and unviable. They are rooted in the struggle between the sexes and do not lead to a peaceful understanding of the dual nature within the human being. Only mystical philosophy offers knowledge of this inner duality. The concepts of patriarchy or matriarchy are far from truth, and therefore in the end lead to pain and disappointment. We must not fight against cruelty and injustice toward one gender or another, but we must oppose all cruelty and injustice in the world in any form they take. And we must value a person not by their gender, but by the harmony between the spiritual and soulful principles within them. Secondly, mystical philosophy allows you to uncover your inner harmony and become a witness to the alchemical wedding of the sun and the moon, the heavenly and the earthly within you. Inner harmony will naturally lead you to outer harmony. Through secret knowledge, one must realize that entering an external relationship should happen only when you are already prepared, having awakened within yourself the harmony between spirit and soul. In this way, you come to your beloved bearing gifts, acquired through the alchemical wedding. Thanks to these gifts, your love becomes spiritually awakened as well. In a relationship, it is essential to faithfully fulfill your sacred duty as a partner, namely, to support the spiritual essence in your chosen one, and to help them prepare for the inner union of the heavenly and the earthly. And now we will share with you an effective practice that will help you integrate the principles and methods of mystical philosophy into your life and create harmonious relationships. Mystical philosophy teaches that the spirit of a person resides in their spiritual heart, located in the center of the chest. It is through the spiritual heart that you can build a true union with your beloved. The practice called alchemical connection with the beloved will guide you on how to begin moving in this direction.
Sit in a comfortable position with your legs crossed. Straighten and relax your back. Feel a vertical golden thread along your spine. stretching from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. Begin to breathe slowly and deeply, focusing your attention on your breath. Then shift your attention to the center of your chest. Within this space, sense a sphere of gentle radiance. This is the image of your spiritual heart. From this sphere, a warm white stream of light flows outward in all directions. Internally observe your spiritual heart and feel how its warmth begins to spread throughout your entire body. Visualize the image of your beloved and place it in the center of your spiritual heart. While keeping your focus on this image, let your sincere feelings flow through it, feelings that arise from the depths of your heart. After doing this, try to sense how the spiritual heart of your beloved responds to your inner depth. Attempt to see how the invisible alchemical connection between your hearts is formed. Take your time and observe your feelings attentively. When you feel it is time to end the practice, shift your attention back to the external space, while keeping the image of your beloved inside your spiritual heart so as not to lose the connection and to strengthen the alchemical bond between you. When performed correctly, this practice allows you to touch genuine, sincere, and deep feelings and images, which are purified from emotional distortions and everyday flaws in the space of the light of spiritual hearts, transforming their holders from within.
Friends, please share in the comments below the video whether you were able to complete the practice and what feelings you experienced. Your sincere effort in working on yourself helps others to embark on the path of self-discovery and personal growth. Every person can build ideal relationships, but not everyone has a clear guide on how to do it. That guide is magical philosophy. It teaches that relationships are not a stream of demands, but a union of two living hearts whose source is the alchemical wedding of spirit and soul within a person. The alchemical wedding cultivates inner harmony in anyone who lives it. Inner harmony is the foundation of the ideal relationships you dream of.